morning, everybody. Let's call to order the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority meeting for the month of December. The time is 9:02. And Raymond, would you please call the roll?
It's 9:02.
That's confirmation. Good morning, Raymond Tejas, Executive Director of the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Reyes.
Here.
Ms. Bettis.
Here.
Ms. Bird.
Here.
Ms. Enriquez.
Here.
Ms. Stevens. Ms. Wilson may be joining us shortly online. She's out today. So we do have a quorum.
Are there any public comments?
None received.
No public comments, okay. Agenda item number 2, the adoption of minutes from the board meeting of September 13th and November 8th, 2023. Everybody have
just
a chance to review those?
A brief note, the September item, we noticed after review that it included a wrong reference to a project on one of the later items. So we've corrected that, and that's why the September is back for you.
Okay. Are there any comments or amendments or about the minutes? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I second it.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Agenda item number 3, discussion and action on board resolution authorizing the advertisement of a construction letting for the Fabens Airport T hangar project.
Okay, we have a PowerPoint for this one. I'll ask Robert to help us out with that. IT, can we have, there we go. Okay, so we're discussing the T hangars project. As a reminder, we've partnered with the County of El Paso on the development and the expansion of the Fabens Airport. One of the projects that we're looking at that we have been helping them with is the T hangars project. So if we could advance the slides. So we'll run through the project purpose, the project's location and scope, and then the timelines. Next slide, please. There we go. So this, as I mentioned, this is a county project. We're planning to let this one in early 2024. As a reminder, we engaged one of our IDC firms, Hewitt Zollers, to provide the design services for this particular project. So the design is nearing completion. The construction funding will come from El Paso County on this particular project, and we will manage the construction management of this one. Next slide, please. This is a map showing you where Fabens Airport is off of I-10 down in Fabens, Texas. Next slide. And this shows you, the bottom right-hand graphic shows you the versions of T hangars that are available to us. So again, we are currently designing those, and they'll be constructed at the airport for El Paso County. Next slide. So again, we are adding new T hangars, new apron, electrical internal lighting, safety illumination, all those things that you see there, everything that's needed to support the T hangars and increase usage. Let me take a step back. I probably should have done this at the outset. So the expansion of the airport includes different initiatives, and one of those is the expansion of the box hangars that they have out there. For example, one of the, and you all may recall, we actually have that procurement out on the street now. We will be constructing box hangars for them. The first box hangar will have classroom space for UTEP and part of their initiatives out there, so we're very excited to partner up with those folks for that. Another initiative is this T hangar initiative, and that is for private use. So those T hangars would be rented out to private users, and they can begin usage of the airport. So that's what we're doing here. So everything that you see on the screen right now, we would be doing as part of this project. Next slide. So the county provides the construction funding and the decisions and guidance on the program, since ultimately they are the owner. And then we have prepared the design plans, and we will let the project, we will manage the construction as well. Here's our proposed procurement timeline. So in late January, we're looking to advertise initially. Then we have our procurement policies require a second advertisement that'll happen in February. By March, we're looking to open the bids, and April, we hope to be back with request for award.
What of April? Shouldn't you say 2024?
It certainly should. We will correct that. Thank you, ma'am. So these are the normal timeline items that we share with you. We've got a start date as early as April, more likely May, and that is 2024. We're looking at 8 months of construction, so we'll probably be done by late 2024, early 2025 is what we're looking at right now. Now, obviously, all of these are subject to change based on what happens between now and then, but that's generally what we're looking at. So what we're asking for, and what is part of your backup, is a resolution asking for authorization to begin the procurement process, but I'm happy to answer any questions. And we do have a representative from the county, should you have any questions of the county as well.
Okay, anybody have any questions? That's pretty straightforward. That's a pretty neat project, I think.
Yes, sir.
I bet you that turns out to be a pretty big moneymaker for the overall scheme of things.
I believe so, especially when you tie that into all of the other improvements that we're adding to the airport. It will be a very useful. I should mention too, we're looking at the automated weather observing system. All of these improvements just help to bring in additional general aviation usage. So these T-hangars, I agree with you, will be very popular.
Is there
Okay.
any contemplation of commercial, not passenger, but freight?
That I couldn't tell you. I know that the county has been doing some planning, and in fact, actually, we are partnering with them on future uses of not only the Fabens Airport, but the Tornillo Port of Entry, kind of a ports-to-port study. So I'll be bringing that to you all before too long with this fee and scope.
Okay. Any other comments? Then I will entertain a motion to approve. Is that correct, Raymond?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item number 4. Discussion and action on board resolution authorizing execution of amendment to the project development agreement with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department for the design and construction of the Weiler Aerial Tramway project. Raymond?
This is another one of our really interesting projects, as you know. As a reminder, we originally entered into a project development agreement with the Texas Parks and Wildlife for the initial just under $5 million that the Texas legislature allocated for parks. We came back and we amended that through the first amendment to add an additional $5 million that was provided by a second legislative allocation. And in this last legislative session, the 88th, an additional $10 million were allocated through the general funding program of Parks, and Parks has now allocated $10 million more. So what we're looking at now is a total available to the RMA for this project of just over $19,600,000. So this amendment adds that new $10 million that came from the most recent legislative session. I'd mention also the design plans are nearing completion for this one, and we're talking to Parks about potentially letting phase 1 that we've discussed about in the past. We're looking at letting that in potentially early 2024. So subject to your questions, I would recommend approval of this item.
Okay, remind us how far that 19 million will take us?
Well, the total project cost estimate that we have been working with is 36 million. So we've still got a ways to go. But
So
we're
we can get up there to the top, but we can't get back down, is that right?
not exactly. So that's the reason why we broke it into the different phases, the distinct phases. So we do believe that we will be able to put a package together to spend the 19 million. Now, obviously, we've spent some of that for the design of both phases 1 and phase 2. and we'll be able to complete quite a bit of work under Phase 1. Now, Phase 1 will include things like prepping for Phase 2, so that means clearing out, removing some of the rock for the placement of the future visitor center and that sort of thing. So the main items of Phase 2 will be the visitor center, which is at the base station, plus the aerial station improvements, so those will come later.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
At the, remember that lunch we had at the Tap House? Where we was,
Yeah,
was that?
yeah.
Or have we followed up with any of that? Because I know that was part of what, at least on my side of the table, was discussed on the follow-up.
Well, so the delegation is very supportive of this, and they are going to be pursuing the last remaining amount that's needed in the next legislative session. So I believe the answer is yes. I've not spoken with Representative Ordaz about it specifically, but I have been in contact and have regular meetings with Senator Blanco's office about this. He's taken the lead now that Ortega is stepping down.
Is there any chance we might get funding out of shovel-ready projects?
We've looked a couple of times, and we'll look again, but we didn't see anything that was directly applicable for this type of thing. It's pretty unique.
Okay.
There's also a local component that is being looked at through the El Paso Community Foundation as well.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. That's kind of an exciting project. Okay, so we now have agenda item number 5, discuss an action on board resolution authorizing the execution of the following instruments as they relate to the Montwood Drive Extension Project. A, the interlocal agreement with the City of El Paso, and B, work authorization number 55.1 with Atkins North America, Inc. Raymond?
For this one, I'll ask IT to bring up the screen for this one. We've got, yeah, there we go. So as a reminder, the Montwood project is a partnership that the RMA has developed with not only the County of El Paso, but also the City of El Paso. So we're really excited about that relationship coming back online. So as you see what Robert's zooming into there, Robert, if you could show where Montwood ends. So currently Montwood ends there. That's the end of the city, Montwood within the city limits. And then Montwood picks up again in the county, and that's where it picks up. So what this project is intending to do is to make that connection. Now, we're not showing you an alignment or anything, but this is basically what the project is doing. So we'll have an alignment somewhere in that area. So the partnership between the three parties has the RMA providing the design services. We're doing that now for the county. The county is providing funding for that. What you see before you today under item 5A is an interlocal agreement with the city, where the city is asking that we make property acquisitions. So we will buy the parcels that will ultimately be needed to make this alignment work. So we will do the acquisition of 18 different parcels. We will also develop the documentation necessary for the submission of the annexation process. So that area where the cursor is right now, that undeveloped area, is currently within the County of El Paso, and the city is looking to annex that portion for the roadway, so that we will provide the documentation necessary for them to annex that as well. So that's what you see under item 5A. It's the interlocal with the City of El Paso. Again, very excited about restarting our partnership with the City of El Paso. Under item 5B then is a work authorization with Atkins, whereby they'll provide the actual right-of-way acquisition services for those parcels that we need, and they will complete the paperwork necessary for the annexation services that the city will complete. So that's what,
And who owns that property now? Is
there
it-
are several owners.
Oh, so
yeah.
it's privately owned.
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay. And is the connection going to be as the crow flies, or is it gonna be this,
It will not be. No,
it'll be
there
the
will
squared off, like,
Yeah, it won't be clean either, so we're working through the alignment now. We're in the design phase, and I think we're pretty close, but
Yeah,
it
'cause
won't
that-
be straight.
yeah, because that'll make a big difference.
Yes, sir.
Is that dependent upon who is willing to sell their property and who isn't, or?
No, sir, that, the guidance on the alignment is coming from the city of El Paso as the ultimate, the city will pay for the construction of the project through the bond program that they recently approved, and they will ultimately be the owner after the annexation. So they're driving the alignment.
Okay, now this is one of the first biggest projects we're doing with the city, is that correct?
Well, we're only doing the right-of-way acquisition and the annexation documentation. So we are not, as far as I know right now, the city has said that they are intending to retain the construction activities.
Okay.
So originally, we had talked about managing the construction as well,
Right.
but I think they've pulled that back.
Okay,
But it's a first step, and we're happy to partner with the city again.
okay. So, we need a resolution, so I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item number 6, discussion and action on board resolution authorizing the execution of an amendment to the interlocal agreement with El Paso County for the John Hayes Street Extension Phase 1 project.
So this item is a cleanup item. This item is a cleanup item, as is item number 7. So with item number 6, John Hayes, this amendment I brought to you all last month, and the amendment was intended to provide the construction funding from the county to the RMA so that we could begin construction, which we have begun. The issue, though, is that we did not include a provision within the amendment that identified when those funds would be coming over to the RMA. The county's audit group has requested that we make that much more clear. So really the only amendment that's being made through this item number 6 is identifying that upon execution, the funds will come over to the RMA within 10 days. So that's what this item is. So I'd recommend approval.
Any comments or questions?
And that is going to be identified by the Commissioners Court, or who?
No, Commissioners Court they approved it this past Monday, so once I believe that their date controls normally, so they'll put a date on it of Monday. We'll execute it as soon as I get with our chair, and the 10 days will start this past Monday, I believe.
Okay, great.
Okay, any other questions? Entertain a motion to approve.
I so move.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item number 8, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution and submittal of documentation of eminent domain authority to the Texas Comptroller as required.
So I think we skipped number 7, but let me go ahead and finish with number 8 if you don't mind, since that's been read into the record. This is a quick one. This is an annual requirement by the Texas Comptroller. They, through legislative direction, they require any and all entities that have eminent domain authority to provide certain information to the state on if eminent domain has been used, if it's being planned, and that sort of thing. So this is pretty standard. We do this each year, so I'm asking for authorization to submit that form.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't have anything pending.
We do not. We are, however, as we've been discussing at each of these meetings, we are now moving into the right-of-way acquisition arena. So there's a possibility that there could be the use of eminent domain in the future. But right now, we're not pursuing it, but it could be.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so before we go back to agenda item number 7, I'll entertain a motion to approve number 8.
So moved.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Going in a reverse gear, we're going to item number 7. Discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the execution of an interlocal agreement with El Paso County for the El Paso County Transit Facility Project. Raymond?
Okay, as I mentioned, this one is also a cleanup item. This one came to you all last month as well. This is the project where we will be doing right-of-way acquisition again for the County of El Paso as they're looking to design and construct their first transit facility center. And so with this one, I brought it to you with a total budget of $2.5 million. However, the county is revising that number down to $2,022,259. So what you see as item number 7 is basically a revised interlocal with a reduced amount that's available from the county. So I would recommend approval of this item, subject to your questions.
My question, is that enough money to do what they want to do?
Well, we're hopeful, but we have had the discussion with them that an amendment would be required if we can't make it work. And we include language like that in all of our interlocals, that if we can't make it work, then we have to stop.
All right, any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I so move.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, leapfrog now to agenda item number 9, presentation and discussion on a change of order recently approved by the Executive Director for the El Paso County Shelters and Sidewalks Program. Raymond?
Yes, sir, I've got Robert running around a lot today.
Robert,
He's
run around.
handling all of our PowerPoints for us, so thank you, Robert. So this, let's go to the next slide, please, IT. Or I guess it's Robert. Thank you, Robert. So as a reminder, with change orders, the board has authorized the executive director to make change orders up to a total amount of $100,000, provided I come back with reporting. In this last month, we've had one change order that was approved by me. So next slide. It's under the Passenger Shelters and Sidewalks Program. As a reminder, this is the program that we use almost as an evergreen contract with our contractor. So when we need random construction activities, we bring that work under this program. So next slide. These are these are all of the prior change orders. So you'll see most of those dealt with the Shelters and Sidewalks Program. However, once you get into number 5, number 6, number 7, those are all Pelicano projects. In fact, actually, number 3 there is a streetcar project. So again, it's used as a general catch-all program for us. What you see as change order number 9, that was approved by me earlier this month for $2,700. That was for the placement of a slab of concrete at Ascarate. This is part of the Sun Cycle program that we've discussed, where the County of El Paso has agreed for us to place a station at Ascarate, which will feed into the Paso Norte Trail. So we're very excited about that. I believe actually the construction is beginning today, if I remember correctly. So that slab will be placed. It'll cure for a couple of days, and then our crews from Sun Cycle will actually go place the station within the next few days. And then we'll work with the board, we'll work with the Paso Norte Health Foundation, with county parks to have a big unveiling event and hopefully an initial ride. So we'll make sure that is well publicized, and we'll share all that info with you. But again, this change order was approved because it is under $50,000. We don't, there's no additional requirement. This is just for your informational purposes only. But happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you all very much. So agenda item number 10, quarterly presentation, update, and discussion on the following programs or projects. A, Borderland Expressway project, and B, the El Paso County Comprehensive Mobility Plan.
So this item will be pretty quick. Item A, under Borderland Expressway, we don't really have anything new to share on that one, unless, no sir, so we don't have much on that one. Item B then is the County Comprehensive Mobility Plan, and I've included the normal update documents as part of the backup. So I'm happy to answer any questions, but there's no action required on this item either.
Do we have any questions? Okay, going on then to agenda item number 11, discussion and action on staff reports. A, FY23 annual audit, and B, Pelicano Drive widening project.
Good
Raymond?
morning, Robert Studer, Director of Finance. For the record, The audit is moving along. We've got a few items pending, but the bulk of the work is complete. We plan on having our finance committee meeting the day before the next board meeting. That would be January 9th at 9 a.m. So finance committee members, if you'll add that to your calendars. And at that point, we plan to review the audit. Unless something wild happens, we should be good to go. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, no action required on A. Item number B, 11B.
So this item, as we've been doing the last few months, I'd like to share a couple of comments for the public, and then I will ask to move into executive session. However, we don't have our attorney with us just yet. Robert, I'll ask you to give him a call if you could while I run through this. We'll need the attorney before we can actually go into executive session. But a couple of things to note on Pelicano. I presented before Commissioners Court back on Monday, November 13th. These are all the activities that have happened since our last meeting. So I met with Commissioners Court on November 13th, and I went back. They asked me to come back again this prior Monday, so I met with them again and gave them an update, answered some questions from Commissioner Leon in particular, and worked through that. Currently updating the website. We should have that updated within the next couple of days, so that'll be, I think, useful for the public. On the bankruptcy side, we continue to monitor the bankruptcy hearings. There have been a couple of hearings in the last month, nothing of significance, primarily other folks trying to get out from under the stay, that sort of thing, selling of assets, but no real impact to us that, in the last month in the bankruptcy court. We've also, under the default, then we've continued conversations with the surety about ways forward and how to get construction back up and running. So we are actively talking to the surety about that. And we're also following up with the Chapter 7 trustee. As we've discussed, the Chapter 7 trustee has received all of the assets and has begun selling those assets and is managing the estate. So I've spoken with the trustee several times. We've formally requested a meeting with the trustee and the trustee's attorney, and we're waiting for dates and times for that meeting. So that's what I have for the public. Now, I've gotten a note from our attorney saying that he is online, but I'm not seeing him on Teams. So I'm wondering if IT needs to shift the Teams meeting. So if you'll hold with me for one moment.
Maybe we should check with your assistant showing up.
Oh, okay. Okay. So our attorney has been here the whole time. We just had the wrong screen up, I think. Sounds like. So Brian's suggesting he's going to log off and then log on directly onto the executive session link. So if we want to go straight to executive, yeah, sorry. Yeah, let's go directly to the executive session link. And so I'll ask our vice chair to move us into executive session, unless anybody has any questions, of course.
He needs to read into the record, right?
He is.
Okay, the time is what? 9:30. The time is 9:31 a.m. on December 6th, 2023, and the CRRMA Board of Directors will now retire to executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 for the purpose of consultation with an attorney. We will reconvene upon the open meeting upon conclusion of the executive session.
Are you going to entertain additional business items?
No.
Monica, finance meeting is at 10. Same date.
almost a million lights. So this was put in place in 1998 in memory of Corrine Boyce for her late husband, Charles Boyce. So it's been here for quite a bit.
while, yeah.
Quite a bit, and it just looks amazing. It's not your typical Christmas tree, as someone might say.
Oh, absolutely. And so when we light up the Christmas tree, we're going to be lighting up in sections. We'll have, obviously, the Afghan tree. We're going to have the other Christmas tree light up after that, and then everything in between. So it's going to be a beautiful display. That's going to happen more or less in about 6 o'clock is when we're going to see it.
Okay.
And
I do want to show one
Yeah.
thing. I'm pretty sure a lot of you might be wondering, what is this thing over here? This is the button that's actually going to turn on all of those lights. So please do not try. Do not try. We have designated people who are going to do this. You have to be trained to do this. So
Yeah.
this is the button that's going to turn on all of those lights in what? Couple minutes?
couple of minutes.
Just a couple minutes.
And to help turn on the lights, we're going to have this beautiful prince right here. Irvin, look at him. He is so cute.
Come on.
He's
Round of
7
applause
years
for Irvin.
old.
Look at his outfit.
Yeah,
Come
look
on.
at his cape. Love it. You can wave to the crowd, sweetie. You can just say hi. There you go. That's him. And we have the
How
princess
precious.
right here. Do you want to stand up, sweetie, so you can say hi? Emily, she is from
Gorgeous.
Candlelighters. Big round of applause for these two amazing individuals. We'll also have some special guests helping them light up the tree.
Okay, let's move on with our thank yous. Like I
Perfect.
said, a lot of things to be thankful for, but
Yes.
we especially want to thank to the city of El Paso, our wonderful city, for bringing back the magic of Winterfest,
Yeah.
the coolest fest in the Southwest. I'm
I
sorry, I
love
just
that.
love saying
We
that.
have to
I
coin
love
it,
saying
yep.
that. All right, and then of course the following city departments.
Yeah, so it's Parks and Recreation, Office of Strategic Communications and CDTV, Public Libraries, the El Paso Zoo and Botanical Gardens, Animal Services, One Stop Shop, Museums, and Cultural Affairs Department.
All right, then, of course, the Information Technology Services, Streets and Maintenance Department, and Land Management, as well as our El Paso Police and El Paso Fire Department, the Office of Emergency Management, Environmental Services, Sun Metro, and El Paso Streetcar International.